Hey everybody, I'm Greg, half of the How to Nomad team. And since our channel is new, you may not know, but I am a recently retired attorney. And at the end of my career, I was focused on practicing estate law. So, estate planning law. And so today, I want to talk to you, especially those of you who are recently retired or thinking about retired and about to embark on travel, whether it's like Deb and I did, full-time travel, slow travel, nomad travel, or maybe you're just thinking about taking routine, regular visits to see family or go overseas. In any event, if you are thinking about travel as a significant part of your next chapter of your life, you'll want to make sure that you have the legal documents in place so that you can do so with a real peace of mind. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So let's get into it. I want to talk to you first about four key kinds of documents that everybody should have if they're going to embark on long-term travel. First, we want to make sure that you have in place a financial power of attorney. Sometimes this is referred to as a general or a durable power of attorney. The financial power of attorney gives someone the power to make any decisions or take actions on your behalf with respect to your financial affairs. This is particularly important in the event that you cannot, for example, withdraw money out of accounts, pay bills that need to be paid. Your agents can do that, but you can give them much broader powers. They can make decisions about insurance policies. They can take actions on certainly on your investment accounts. They can do things as small as, for example, if you continue to have a utility account like a cable, they would be able to cut off your cable for you or continue paying the bills for you. So these are all little things that make a difference if you can't do them on your own. You want to make sure you have a financial power of attorney given to someone who can. The second category is a different kind of power of attorney, which regards your healthcare, a healthcare power of attorney. With respect to the healthcare power of attorney, we're talking about a document where you give power to someone to speak for you in the event that you can't speak for yourself. Now, typically what we're talking about is a period of incapacity, but not necessarily end of life, something that's happened beforehand. But you may not be able to make the decisions or communicate on your own, so you can let your agent know in advance what you want, and then they can speak for you to your healthcare providers. Closely related to the healthcare power of attorney is a living will or declaration. The difference between those two documents, your healthcare power of attorney concerns your desires for treatment that's going to occur before your end of life. On the other hand, if your end of life is imminent and you may have to have decisions made about how you'll be cared for, this is where the declaration or living will comes into play. We're usually, for lack of a more delicate way to put it, it's the question of should we pull the plug or not. And the other two very common issues are whether you should have artificial hydration and or artificial nutrition. So these are the three biggest issues about continued treatment that will prolong your life, even though there's no reasonable hope of recovery, artificial nutrition or artificial hydration, without which you would die. So those are the issues that are addressed in a living will or document called a declaration, and it's the third type of document that you'll want to have taken care of before you leave. The final category is make sure that you have a trust and or a will. Now, sometimes, in most cases, if you have a living trust, you probably also have a will that works in conjunction with that trust. In some cases, you may not. Maybe a trust is not appropriate for you, although, frankly, if you are engaged in full-time travel, slow travel as part of your retirement, it's hard for me to imagine a situation where a trust would not be of benefit to you. But that's a decision that you want to talk in much greater detail with the estate planning attorney who's experienced, licensed in your jurisdiction and that you trust. And most important for you to keep in mind is that you want to make sure that all of your assets are either in your trust or properly titled so that they will pass without the need for someone else to facilitate that transaction. So, recap, the four important documents are financial power of attorney, healthcare power of attorney, living will, also known as a declaration, and the will and or trust. There are some other travel-specific documents that I might mention that you should know about. Of course, you want to make sure if you're traveling out of the United States that you've got any necessary passport and or visa. Depending on where you're going, there's now some additional documents for documentation, electronic documentation, but documentation nevertheless. For example, in the UK, you'll need what's referred to as the ETA. Similarly, although not yet in effect, but will be soon, in most of the European Union, there's an electronic requirement for what's the ETIAS system. And Japan is going to similarly have a similar system in place. So those are some examples of countries where you may or may not need a visa, but you need additional documentation. Another important legal documentation concern, in addition to passports and visas, would be if you're going to drive, make sure that you get an international driver's permit. You can get that if you're a member of AAA, they can provide it. That's where Deb and I went and gotten ours. But you certainly want to get them before you leave so that you can drive and rent cars if you want or need while you're traveling outside of the United States. The other item to keep in mind, like I said, as far as unique to travel concerns, would be travel insurance. The travel insurance, now this gets more complicated, and Deb and I are going to do a video on this, separate video on this, about travel and health insurance for the global traveler. But I strongly recommend that you have some kind of travel insurance in place if you're going to be engaged in regular or extended travel. Sometimes that travel insurance can be available through credit card benefits, but if not, or if you're not satisfied with the credit card benefit that's available, you'll want to have a travel insurance policy. Some practical tips for you aside from the documentation that you're going to worry about. Number one, you want to make sure that you've informed your financial institutions about your travel. Certainly, most of us have had the experience, unfortunate and unpleasant, of having an account frozen to protect us from potential fraudulent activity because we're traveling. The bank doesn't recognize that. So get ahead of that curve and make sure your financial institutions know that you're traveling. Likewise, have conversations with your friends and family so they're aware of your plans and keep them informed. Now, this is especially important that you do this for the people that you identified as the ones that you wanted to be, for example, your agent in the case of your financial power of attorney, or your agent for your healthcare power of attorney, your trustees for your trust, or your executor for your wills. And by the way, in those cases, in each case, you should always name not only someone else to immediately replace you, but successors to those folks in case your first choice doesn't work. Make sure all of the people know that you've asked them to take on that responsibility. And for the people that are agents, like the financial agent, the healthcare power of attorney, you want to make sure that they have copies of the documents. That also brings me to a next point. It's a good idea to keep on your person like a wallet card. I provided my clients with a little laminated card, wallet size, that would inform everyone that you have these kind of documents in place. And so it's simply a statement that, I have a financial power of attorney and I have a medical power of attorney. Please contact whoever it may be, your emergency contact, so that they can find that. You also may choose to store them electronically in safe places. In many states, like in my home state of Nevada, we had the Nevada Lockbox, which was a service available free of charge, where the state would accept these documents and upload them. All the healthcare providers in Nevada would then have access to them if necessary for your care. And of course, you could then also give authorization to anybody else that you wanted to be able to access those documents. There are also private companies that offer similar services. But the important point to all of this is if you choose to use that service, then you want to include that on that little wallet card so somebody could see and find those documents for you. But that also brings me to the next point, which is making sure that the people who you've given your powers to, like I said, have copies of the documents. But it's not just giving them copies of the documents; it's making sure that those documents are stored safely. So you should check with them, and if they don't have the means to, for example, store the documents in a fireproof box, give that to them so that you know that those documents are going to be safe. Another excellent option, if you don't want to leave documents with friends or family, can be to put them in a safe deposit box. But note, if you use a safe deposit box, make sure that the institution where you keep that safe deposit box also has the appropriate documentation to give access to the safe deposit box for whomever it is you want to be able to get in there that's not you. Now, sometimes it can be a matter of they have to have a key, but most of the time nowadays it's simply that they have to have the right documentation. But it is important that they have the documentation. Otherwise, the person not only won't be able to get the documents directly, they're likely going to have to go through a court process before they can open up and see the documents. So that's the last piece. With that, I want to say it's important to say I'm not the doomsday guy. I'm not here with the Grim Reaper to be the Grim Reaper. If you're thinking about traveling, that's fun and exciting. Good for you. I know Deb and I are thrilled that we've been doing this about 3 months now. It's a fantastic life. And it's been really nothing but fun and excitement. And that's how you should be. But it will be more fun and more exciting, more joyful if you have the peace of mind of knowing that if something terrible should happen to you, that the people you care most about aren't going to be burdened with having to make decisions because you will have already made those decisions. You have let them know how you want your affairs handled, and you make things as easy as possible for them to handle them for you. Look, I hope you enjoy your travel. I hope you never need any of these documents, but if you do, I'm glad I could let you know in advance what those documents are. Thanks. Until next time, well, I hope if you enjoyed this video, you'll like, subscribe, drop a comment if you have a question or a note, and we'll see you again soon.